Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that lives deep inside all of us. A desire to become more than what we are right now. To rise above our limits, to prove first to ourselves and then to the world that we were never meant to just exist. We were meant to win. Let me tell you something that most people never understand, and it's the reason why they stay stuck their entire lives. Starting from zero is not a disadvantage. It's not something to be ashamed of. In fact, it's the best damn place you can be. Because when you have nothing, you've got nothing to lose. That's power. That's freedom. Everyone's so obsessed with comparing themselves to the next guy. Oh, he's got a better car, a better job, more followers, more money. So what? He's got more pressure, more to protect. You got a clean slate. You move like a ghost. No one sees you coming. And that makes you dangerous. The world teaches you to fear zero. School, society, even your so-called friends, they tell you if you're at zero, you're a failure, you're behind. Let me explain something to you. Being broke, unknown, and underestimated is your superpower. Because when you're at the bottom, every step is progress. You can triple your value in a week and nobody's watching. You can reinvent yourself in silence. You can build in the shadows while everyone else is too busy posting fake success on Instagram. I have you at zero, and you know what? That's where I learned who I was. Not when I had the money, the watches, the cars. None of that defines you. You find out who you really are when you got nothing but time, hunger, and your own mind. Most people crumble at zero. They quit. They blame the world, their parents, the government, the economy. Heroes, they use zero as fuel. They wake up and say, all right, I'm broke. I'm unknown. Nobody believes in me. Perfect. Let's get to work. When you've got nothing, everything you do becomes an asset. That hour in the gym, that's one more rep than the guy who's comfortable. That book you're reading, that's knowledge the average fool isn't picking up. That side hustle you're grinding on after your shift, that's the beginning of your empire. The world's full of people waiting for a lucky break. You don't wait. You create. And you do it by starting now, exactly where you are with what you have, even if it's nothing. Especially if it's nothing. See, comfort is a trap. You ever seen someone who's got just enough? They've got just enough money not to be desperate, just enough food not to feel hunger, just enough entertainment to stay distracted. Those are the real prisoners. They're stuck in a cage called average and they're too cozy to break out. But you, if you're at zero, you're already outside the system. You don't have to break free. You're already free. All you need to do now is decide to move forward. There's no one holding you back but you. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no motivational YouTube video, no lucky opportunity. You are the rescue team. And the moment you accept that, you take control. You stop playing the victim. You stop complaining about your situation. You grab it by the neck and say, this is mine now. This is where the story changes. You don't need money to start. You don't need followers. You don't need support. What you need is discipline. You need fire in your chest and clarity in your mind. Every second you waste whining about being at zero is a second someone else is using to climb. If you can't respect yourself at zero, you don't deserve to be respected at 100. Because the journey is what builds the man. The pressure, the rejection, the setbacks, that's what turns you into someone who can't be broken. Let me make it even clearer. Being broke is temporary. Being unknown is temporary. But the lessons you learn in the struggle, those stay with you forever. You'll never forget the nights you stayed up grinding. You'll never forget the meals you skipped just to get through another day of work. You'll never forget how you built something from scratch when no one clapped for you. That's what makes the win real. That's what makes the hero story yours. Everyone wants to be the hero at the end of the movie, standing on the podium with the trophy. No one wants to be the guy sleeping on the floor, training in silence, bleeding, failing, pushing when there's no applause. But that's the part that matters. That's the real journey. That's where heroes are born, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. If you're at zero right now, I don't want to hear you complain. I don't want to hear excuses. You should be smiling because you got something most people don't. A reason to rise, a reason to fight, a reason to become something more than average. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take the next step. Learn something today. Build something today. Improve yourself today. It doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be real. Stack the wins brick by brick until you look up one day and realize you're not at zero anymore. You're not the same person who started. You're someone who's been through the fire and came out forged. Let me tell you something that separates the winners from the losers, the kings from the peasants, the ones who make it from the ones who rot mediocrity. It's not money, it's not connections, it's not talent. It's mindset. That's the game. That's the whole damn game. Before you can lift a weight, start a business, dominate a room, or lead others, you've got to dominate your own mind. You think the world owes you something just because you were bored? You think someone's coming to knock on your door with success and say, hey, it's your turn. No, life doesn't work like that. This world is hard, cold, relentless. And if you don't have control of your own mind, it will break you. It'll spit you out and not even remember your name. So what do? You toughen up your mind like a warrior sharpens his blade. That's where the hero is made. Up here, in the head. Most people walk around like zombies, consumed by fear, controlled by emotion, slaves to distraction. They wake up, scroll their phone, drown in doubt, and wonder why nothing changes. They let their mind bully them into inaction. I'm too tired. What if I fail? What will people think? Shut that noise down. That voice isn't you. That's weakness whispering in your ear, hoping you'll settle, hoping you'll give up. You've got to flip the script. You've got to build a mind that works for you, not against you. Every morning when you wake up, you've got two options. Be the guy who reacts to the world or be the guy who decides what happens. That's power. That's freedom. You don't wait to feel motivated. You build discipline so you don't need motivation. You don't wait to feel confident. You take action until confidence becomes automatic. Because here's the truth. If you don't run your mind, someone else will, and they will use it to sell you comfort, mediocrity, and failure disguised as entertainment. You ever notice how the most dangerous people in any room are calm, collected? Not the loudest guy, not the one flexing. It's the one who doesn't flinch. That's mindset. That's control. Because when your emotions run you, you lose. When your habits run you, you win. You wake up, you train, you learn, you execute. No matter how you feel, that's the standard. Your mind will test you every single day. It'll tempt you with shortcuts and a whisper, skip today, you've earned it. You deserve to relax. No, you don't. You deserve results. You deserve progress. You earn that through consistency, not comfort. And when your mindset is strong, you start seeing things differently. Problems become challenges. Obstacles become training. Failure becomes feedback. That's when you level up. That's when you stop being average and start being a machine. You think heroes are born brave? No, they're scared like everyone else. The difference is they act anyway. They feel the fear, the pressure, the doubt, and they move forward. That's the mindset of a winner. You don't wait for the fear to go away. You carry it on your back and keep climbing. You become unshakable, not because the world gets easier, but because you get harder to break. And listen, your mindset isn't built overnight. It's forged like steel and fire. You build it every time you don't hit snooze, every time you train when you're exhausted, every time you push through the voices telling you to quit. Those little moments, that's the battleground. That's where greatness is won or lost, not in the spotlight, not on the stage, in the quiet, lonely moments where no one's watching, where it's just you and your choices. Let's be clear. Your current life is a reflection of your current mindset. Don't like what you see? Change how you think. You're not poor because of the government. You're not stuck because of your boss. You're where you are because of the standards you've accepted in your own head. You've let yourself believe you're not worthy, not ready, not capable. That's a lie. You were born with everything you need. You just buried it under years of doubt, fear, and weakness. You want to go from zero to hero? It starts by rewiring the way you think. You train your brain like you train your body. Repetition. Relentless pressure. You take control of your thoughts. You feed it discipline. You feed it purpose. You feed it reality. Because the world doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about what you produce. And your mind is either your weapon or your cage. And you start every day with intention. You say, today I dominate. Today I grow. Today I'm sharper than I was yesterday. That's the mantra. That's the mission. And when your mind is locked in, the world bends around you. People feel it. They see it in your eyes and your presence and your execution. That's what makes a hero. It's not the crown. It's the fire that was burning long before anyone noticed. There will be people who try to break you. People who laugh at your ambition, who tell you to be realistic, to slow down, to stay in your lane. Let them talk. That's the sound of small minds trying to pull you down to their level. You don't have time for that. You're busy building. You're busy becoming. You're busy sharpening your mind into a weapon so precise, nothing and no one can stop you. Remember, before the money, before the success, before the world applauds you, your mindset is the first empire you conquer. Get that right, and everything else follows. All right, we've talked about mindset. The mindset without action, that's just theory. That's daydreaming. That's empty talk. You want to go from zero to hero? You better understand this right now. Nothing happens until you move. Not a thing. The world doesn't reward thoughts. It rewards execution. You can sit around reading books, watching motivational videos, making plans, designing vision boards. None of that means anything unless you're out there putting in the work. You want discipline? Prove it. You want freedom? Earn it. You want success? Go bleed for it. Because heroes aren't made in their heads. They're made in the grind. They're built in the sweat, in the pain, in the repetition, in the decisions no one else wants to make. Everyone says they want it. Money, power, status, legacy. You know most people really want? Comfort. And that's exactly why they lose. They want results without sacrifice. They want success without risk. They want the life without living the life. But life doesn't work like that. There's a price for everything you want. And the ones who win are the ones willing to pay it every single day. Let me make it simple. Your goals don't care how you feel. Your dreams don't wait for your emotions to align. Your potential doesn't activate when it's convenient. You get results by doing what needs to be done, regardless of mood, weather, circumstances, or opinions. That's action. That's what separates the doers from the talkers. You don't build a business by thinking about it. You build it by sending the emails, making the calls, working while others sleep. You don't build a body by watching workout videos. You build it by showing up in the gym, even when you're sore, even when you're tired, even when no one else shows up. You don't build a future by waiting for the right time. You create the right time by acting when it's hardest. You want to talk about discipline? Discipline means doing the thing even when the motivation is gone. Everyone's motivated on January 1st. Where are they on February 10th? Gone. Finished. Back to comfort. Back to the couch. Because motivation fades. But action, habit, that's how winners are made. Let me ask you, what did you do today that moved the needle? What did you do that put you closer to the life you say you want? If the answer is nothing, then stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending you want it, because if you really wanted it, you'd be chasing it like your life depended on it, because it does. Your future depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your peace, your power, your legacy, they all come down to what you do when no one's watching. People waste hours every day scrolling, complaining, doubting, overthinking. Then they say they don't have time. Time isn't the problem. You are. You're soft, you're lazy, you're distracted. And that's exactly why someone hungrier is passing you right now. They're not better than you. They're not smarter. They're just acting while you're waiting. Stop waiting for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Stop waiting to feel ready. You never will. Success is not about perfect conditions. It's about ruthless consistency. You show up, rain or shine. You execute when you're on fire and when you're falling apart, because every step forward is one step away from zero and one step closer to greatness. There's no fast track, no shortcut, no secret hack. It's just work. Relentless, disciplined, uncomfortable work. That's the part people run from. That's why they stay stuck. Because real work exposes you. It shows you who you are. And most people can't handle that truth. But if you can stare at your flaws, your gaps, your weaknesses, and still act, you're already halfway to becoming untouchable. And listen, it's not about massive moves every day. It's about stacking wins. You do something every day. You write the plan, you make the call, you lift the weight, you study the skill, 1% better every day. And when you stack those days, you build momentum. And when momentum builds, you become unbreakable. The world doesn't need more talkers. It needs doers. People who mean what they say, people who take action, own their outcomes, and rise, regardless of what stands in their way. Let's get real now. You've made it through the pain. You've rebuilt your mindset. You've taken relentless action. But what's it all for? What's the point of all the discipline, the hustle, the sacrifice? Because if you're only doing it for money, you're lost. If you're only doing it for attention, you're finished before you even begin. The real ones, the legends, they play for something bigger. They play for legacy. Legacy isn't about how loud your name is while you're alive. It's about what people remember when you're gone. It's about whether your name carries weight or gets washed away in the tide like everyone else who did nothing. You want to go from zero to hero? then think beyond your life. Think beyond this week, this month, this year. Start thinking in terms of impact. What are you building that will still matter when you're not around to see it? Every second you waste staying small, staying scared, staying average, it's a second you rob from your legacy. And I don't care what background you come from. I don't care what your past looks like. Your legacy isn't about where you started. It's about what you do with your time here. Every choice you make, every move you commit to, it's a brick in the foundation of your future name. And that name can either open doors for others or be forgotten like dust. You think being a hero is about capes and applause? No, it's about being the one who changes the direction of your bloodline. You want to be powerful? Be the person your future family thanks generations from now because you decided enough was enough. Because you didn't settle, because you raised the standard, because you turned the pain into purpose and the struggle into strength. That you leave a mark by how you move when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when it's dark and you've got every reason to quit, but you don't. You keep going. You lead, not because it's easy, but because you know the ones after you deserve better than what you were handed. That's what heroes do. They don't just win for themselves. They win for everyone tied to their name. Because you want people to remember you. Then build something that doesn't die when you do. Build habits, build systems, build wealth, build character, build a code that can't be shaken. Because when you're gone, no one cares what car you drove. They care about how you lived. They care about the standard you set. They care about the storm you walked through so they didn't have to. And I know some people out there are thinking, why should I care what happens after I'm dead? Because that mindset is exactly why you're stuck. You're playing a short game. The real power comes when you start playing for legacy. When you start understanding that the mission is bigger than just you. That's when your actions start to carry weight. That's when your name becomes a force, not just a label. Ever hear someone mention a name and the room goes quiet? That's respect. That's legacy. That's power. Not because they posted 1 million selfies, but because they stood for something, because their discipline was unmatched, because their life was proof of what's possible. That can be you. But only if you stop chasing temporary highs and start chasing something eternal. The question is simple. Do you want to be remembered or do you want to be forgotten? Because the average man is forgotten before he's even buried. But the hero, his name echoes. His example lives on. His lessons ripple through time like fire. And that doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design, by choosing every single day to live like your name matters. So yeah, build a body, build a business, stack the money, live well. But understand this, none of that means anything if your name carries no weight. You want to be a real man? Then stand for something, build something, lead something, and do it with the kind of fire that doesn't burn out just because the lights go off or the crowd walks away. This world doesn't need more followers, it needs leaders. It needs people willing to rise above comfort, weakness, and excuses. People who choose to be the blueprint. That's the ultimate power. When you become the reference point. When people say, I got up and changed my life because of what he did,